Who's actually going to love this chair, who should walk away, and does the price make sense for someone who just needs a reliable seat for Zoom calls and a few hours of gaming? That's the question I keep hearing from people who are stuck between a cheap mesh chair that screams after a few months and a premium leather throne that eats half a paycheck. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's walk through the everyday scenario most of us live in, the hidden trade-offs of a luxury ergonomic claim, and whether the extra features really pay off when you sit down at a desk for the long haul. First off, the setup you'll find yourself in is pretty typical: a home office desk, maybe a dual-monitor rig, and a desire to stay comfortable while you write reports, answer emails, and occasionally dive into a game after work. The chair promises executive leather, a high back, a swivel base, and even an integrated massage function. On paper, that sounds like a win-win style for the video call background, support for those long spreadsheet marathons, and a little vibration to relax those tight shoulders. The key is to see how those promises translate once the weight is on the cushion. If you're a professional who spends 8 or more hours at a desk, the high back design does something useful. It actually reaches up to support the upper back and neck, which most budget chairs neglect. People who have tried gaming chairs before often complain about a lack of lumbar support after the first hour. This model adds a built-in lumbar pad that you can slide forward or back, so you can line it up with your lower spine. In real-world use, that means fewer hunched-over moments when you're reviewing a contract or watching a tutorial video. The leather upholstery is also more than a visual upgrade. It feels cool when you first sit down, which is a blessing in a summer heat home office, and it warms up after a while, giving a subtle sense of luxury that plain fabric chairs can't match. Now let's talk about the massage function, because that's the part that raises eyebrows. It's not a full-body chair. You won't get a deep kneading experience like a spa device. Instead, there are a few low-frequency vibration pads embedded in the backrest, activated by a small controller on the armrest. In practice, those vibrations are noticeable enough to break the monotony of a long meeting, but they're not strong enough to replace a dedicated massage tool. If you're looking for a relax while you work gimmick, it works, but if you expect therapeutic relief, you'll probably be left wanting. One of the practical strengths that shows up in everyday use is the adjustability. The height lever works smoothly, the tilt tension can be dialed in, and the recline lock lets you kick back a few inches without wobbling. For someone who alternates between sitting upright for focused work and reclining during a quick gaming break, that flexibility is a real time saver. I've seen people complain that high-back chairs feel clunky when you try to swivel, but the 360-degree base on this model glides pretty quietly over carpet and hardwood alike. The armrests also tilt forward and upward, which helps when you need to get closer to the keyboard without straining your shoulders. On the downside, the chair's weight is noticeable. At roughly 70 pounds, moving it from one room to another takes more effort than a typical office chair. If you're renting a space where you might need to rearrange furniture often, that could be a hassle. The leather, while visually impressive, can be a bit unforgiving if you're prone to spilling coffee. A quick spill can leave a dark spot that takes a few minutes to wipe clean, and the material doesn't breathe as well as mesh, so you may notice a bit more sweat after a full day of intense work or gaming. Those are the hidden trade-offs that the luxury label can hide. Another practical weakness is the price point relative to what you actually get. The chair sits in the upper mid-range for home office furniture. You're paying for the leather finish, the massage pads, and the branding that positions it as both executive and gaming. If you compare it to a plain ergonomic mesh chair that costs a fraction of the price, you'll notice that the core ergonomic features adjustable lumbar, tilt, and seat depth are very similar. The extra cost is really for the aesthetic and the novelty of the massage function. For a buyer who only needs a reliable work seat and isn't looking to impress on video calls, that premium may feel unnecessary. Who should definitely consider this chair? If you're a remote professional who wants a presentable background for client calls, enjoy a bit of low-key relaxation while you work, and have the budget to treat yourself to something that feels more executive than a standard office stool, this is a solid pick. It also makes sense for gamers who spend a few hours after work on a console or PC and want a chair that